Greetings. Ideology as groupthink is a sad tragedy um, in our current hemisphere because the internet expanded people's minds, and what I mean by that is their ability to take in information. Um, a lot of people try to find where they belong on the internet. So when back in the day, you'd have family, friends, in your workplace, maybe whatever local place you have for your hobby, become your community. Right now, it can be part of a community of thousands of people without ever talking to them. And what unites you is either sharing the same opinions or sharing the same interests. And for a long time, I've been a beneficiary of this, and a lot of people were. Generally, I was very into learning about other people and their cultures, and I don't mean people close to me. I already know these. I want to know what it's like to live in Slovakia, what it's like to live in Canada, what it's like to live in, I don't know, Azerbaijan. I don't care. You're from a place, tell me about it. How's Mexico like? How's Brazil? How's Argentina? How is Mali? How, whatever, right? I want to know. I love to know about people and their habits. And so I explored online. Whenever I found somebody from a different country, Netherlands, whatever, I would talk to them and would try to explore their culture and share a little bit of ours. And um, this was great for a long time, and until I realized that a lot of people don't use the internet this way. A lot of people use it to wank themselves off, and I don't mean pornography. I mean ideologically. So let's say you're female or pussy male, whatever you want to call it, and um, you see this LBGTB whatever crap, right? The LGBTP crap, yeah, that's what they call it now, and um, because they're campaigning for your rights, you're like, ooh, I'll adopt whatever they say because in the end, I'll be the benefactor, I'll be the beneficiary of this situation. And so let me raise the flags and dye the hairs and the armpits and ruin my life for this cause, right? Another one is people can whenever people just gather up and they have the same opinion, and whoever you ask between them, there won't be a difference in response. I remember my first time dealing with feminism, and it was pretentiously enough at a poetry event. And it was at a time where I was doing poetry, and I wanted to see what the market has. So I went to a poetry reading, and I started talking around, just exploring these people. And I remember seeing a group of what is clearly feminists, right? So I'm like, oh, let me tweak some buttons, let me see what happens. Blah 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 blah. Women are equal to men, and I swear, five people left what they were doing, sat down, and they were gonna all gang up on me because I had a different opinion. And so they started throwing their arguments. Hold on, this is getting too annoying. There we go. Um, so five people ganged up on me, if not more. I remember, and they were all rah rah rah, right? They were just boo rah rahing on me, trying to change my mind. But I wasn't budging. I was trolling. I was throwing arguments left and right, trying to squeeze out whatever little information they can provide me. And I remember one guy was or I said, and then one guy was so I said, so naturally women are different from men because there's a hormonal difference. The biology is different. Of course they're going to be different. And I remember one guy was just left. It's this is too stupid. I need to leave. And then he stood in the background for a bit, didn't even move away, just checked for my reaction. I ignored him, kept going, and then after a minute or two, he sat right back in. And the idea is shame the opponent into switching their opinion. And they were all thinking the same thing. They even had the same ideas. Bankers own the world, the 1%. Women are oppressed. should be like given more rights that give them an advantage over men, and like I don't know what else do like people are made like the Illuminati are reptiles. I don't know what else, right? And um, it was odd because I'm used to sitting with people who can keep an individual conversation. Those guys ganged up on me the same way like if I enter like a very religious house and I say something that suggests, for example, that music isn't particularly forbidden in the Islamic faith, only that certain sects find it um, not like forbidden, like people will do the same thing you guys are doing. You're just being a cult again. What's the difference between you and anybody else? Don't you claim to be open minded? What open mindedness is there if you follow an ideology? And to me, that's like a struggle to deal with. Even good concepts like Friedrich Nietzsche, his concept of the overman, the Übermensch as he calls it, blah blah blah. You find people walking around, oh, an Übermensch, and just that's it. Like their head is all about becoming an Übermensch, and like you miss the point here. You're like the second you like decided that the Übermensch should be a label, you missed the point that Nietzsche was making. You're basically part of a group called the Übermenschreich, and they're walking around now. um, Hell, capitalism versus communism, you know, was a huge ideological battle. But what makes it different from groupthink is because those ideologies, at least some of them, um, weren't groupthink. People had their different opinions within this ideological sphere. So let's say somebody's liberal. Just because you're liberal doesn't mean you subscribe to everything the liberals say. In fact, liberals always attack each other, right? Like you're wrong, your opinion is wrong, and here's why, right? Um, like I know in Kuwait that like everybody's like if liberals outnumber the religious people in certain places, but they never band together, and therefore the religious people who are collective win the elections or the opinionated things, and if only those people can like band together. I'm like, no, don't let them band together. That's disaster, right? Like because the second you make a group and the whatever the group says it represents everybody else, you're into groupthink, and being part of being part of an ideology is not bad, but having groupthink is a disaster. So so yeah, like whenever you see something like this, like the first thing that comes to mind is like the second somebody's in groupthink mode, there's no logic that can persuade them otherwise. There's nothing that can persuade them otherwise. As the great Bill Burr once said, you already have your mind made up, and then you go to umright.com and download a bunch of stats, and that becomes your reality. And that's that, right? So, yeah, like that's my 2 cents on this issue, which is don't do it. I'll see you all in the next one.